What's up, ladies and gentlemen? ChuckfinleLP Play Sonic Colors Part 7. We are beginning the Terminal Velocity Zone, the final zone in the game.
That fool Sonic thinks he's won because he destroyed all my generators. Well, the mind control cannon is full enough for what it has to do. I will have the last laugh. The last laugh? How is laughing last special? Isn't that like being the slowest one to get the joke? Yeah, I laugh last all the time. People look at me like I'm an idiot. Forget about it. That's because you are an idiot. You talking to me? Yes, I'm talking to you. There's nobody else here, so I must be talking to you. Why haven't we fixed your voice chip yet? Yo, quit wasting my batteries over here. I've been working on it all day. What does that even mean? Oh, never mind. In a few seconds, it won't matter anyway, since the world will have only one thing on its mind. What's that, boss?
Now, if you remember back all the way in Part 1, I had talked about that arm being stuck into into the side of to the tropical resort. I believe it was one of the towers when Orbot and Cubot was talking about they were missing an arm. Well, there it is right there. You see where the cracks are starting from. And so that causes the thing to mess up and backfire.
No, this can't be happening. It's backfiring. Yo, what do you mean impossible? Your plans have been crushed by Sonic for like ever. He stopped you like it's his job or something. In fact, I can't remember a plan he didn't stop. What are you talking about? He hasn't stopped all of them. Name one. We need to pay attention now. Thank you, Marty. Hey, my voice is back. All right. There's the sweet sound by factory processors new and love. Now I remember why we changed his voice chip. No matter. I may have suffered a setback, but this thing's far from over. I will crush Sonic. Maggots and egg for effort, that's for sure.
Remember back in, I believe it was Part 5 that I was talking about the dialogue getting worse. Well, there you go. I do apologize, but I will have to cut for a moment. So I will be I'll be right back. All right, I apologize for the cut, but anyway, so we are beginning Act 1 for Terminal Velocity, which leads us into a cutscene once again.
Hey, Tails? I got a bad feeling about this.
Good, so it's not just me.
When I feel the ground shaking under my feet and see plumes of dust rising and rubble tumbling and aliens running for their lives, yeah, I get a bad feeling. So, how about you and me make like Eggman's hairline and recede?
This isn't joke time. This is running to the space elevator time.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. We're out of here.
Yeah, we're running now.
Alright, so what we have to do is, this is a continuous run section. We cannot stop, we cannot go backwards. And this is the only area in the entire game where we can use the quick step unlimitedly. You know, we can just use it however many times as you want, which is pretty good so that you can gain the bonus. But something else that is good, you do not have to worry about pushing forward on the stick. You cannot, as I said, you cannot slow yourself down, which is bad. But it's it's not as bad as you may think. You don't have to stop for anything. There is nothing that you need to stop or slow down for. So that is useful. These arrow chasers, they're their laser patterns are not that difficult to dodge. I guess you want to make sure that you jump over those the barriers on the bottom. If you notice, I've got some boost now. You want to save the boost for this Motobug section. You want to use it as little as possible until you get the bar full. Once you get the bar full, you can use it to take out some of these Motobugs. So that you don't feel like you're wasting it, but you still want to be careful while you're going through this section, because for this final section, which is an interceptor level or chase section, you don't want to use your boost. Just give me a moment. I need to look at this real quickly. I apologize for the cut, the awkward cut there. Just as I was going into the interceptor section, I started to drop frames rather rapidly, as you could tell by the jumpiness of the camera, and it just got so bad that it was unwatchable at the interceptor section, and I had ended up dying in the interceptor section, so I had to restart the level anyway. So I'm here just at the beginning of the Motobug section, and so I'll just start from here. But as I was saying, you want to build up your boost through this section, and so you accumulate it till the bar is full. I use it a little bit here just so that you can collect a sufficient amount of rings. You don't want to use it too much. You will gain some from the. You don't want to lose your rings going into this section, most definitely. You don't want to use it through here. You want to wait until about right now, then use it. Get out far enough ahead so that the lasers don't bother you. You don't want to let him get too close. You just want to keep tapping the boost button just a little bit. You don't want to waste it. You don't want to waste it, because there is a Motobug section coming up here as well. So you'll be chased by an interceptor. You'll be chased by the interceptor, and you'll have to dodge the lasers, not take any damage. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm dropping frames rapidly again. Let me try to fix this. See you in a second. I apologize for the cut once again. I was dropping frames too much, and I ended up dying again, so I decided to go ahead and start here. But this is the Motobug chase section. You have to not only dodge Motobugs, but you also have to dodge the interceptor's lasers, which adds to the trouble. You do not want to let the interceptor get too close to you, obviously, because you cannot see the laser patterns anymore. Oh, there you go. Okay. It's not a very hard level, or a long level for that matter. It's just difficult. The last Motobug section is pretty difficult because you cannot see the laser patterns, and so that makes it a little bit more difficult than it normally would be otherwise. Alright, so here, this is the boss fight for the...
Time to bail! It can't be! Leaving so soon! There are no lines, and I've saved the best rides for last! At least let me stab your hand so you can come back in! I know you're trying to be clever with this whole amusement park pun thing, but it's just coming off lame. Just say you're going to destroy us and stop embarrassing yourself. Curse you, Sonic! Not only do you foil my plans, but you foil my speeches as well. I work hard on them. No matter. I will destroy you, and I will be victorious. Is that better? Like a million times better. Thank you. This robot is special. He's powered by the energy from your little friends. He is invincible. So I'd say it's been nice knowing you, but it hasn't.
I have to admit I'm a little scared. I don't think we can beat this guy.
See you on the ground, buddy.
Sonic, no!
Just got one last thing to do. As for you...
Alright, so that is the Egg Nega Wisp boss. That is the Egg Nega Wisp boss. What he does is he uses color. Alright, so you can't understand what Tails is saying, but he uses wisp powers to his advantage. If you notice, you use the purple frenzy to put a little bit of distance between himself and Sonic. That is the cube. The cube power. He will suck up more wisps so that he can use more different powers. The only powers that he can use are the cyan laser, the blue cube, the blue cube, the purple frenzy, and the spike. Well, once he gets close enough, you can use the homing attack on him to not only gain some boost, but also gain some rings, which is very useful. Especially for later on, you want to make sure that you try to keep your rings and your boost as well. He will also use combo abilities. He will also combine the different wisp powers that he can use. Like he will use the spikes and the cube together, and the laser and the cubes together for different combinations. You want to save your boost so that you can get in close to him. Not only try to collect more rings, but also try to get in close so that you can attack him quicker. And sooner, the quicker you kill him, the less combos that you'll have to deal with. As you go on, he will use more wisp powers. I want to put a little bit of distance between yourself and these cubes, just because you don't know the pattern right off immediately. And he can use different... Okay, so here's the cubes and the spikes. The spikes are not that difficult to dodge. All you have to do is just jump over them. You have to make sure that you do jump over them. That's about the only difficult part. And I'm not close enough. Okay, I was gonna say I was afraid that he may not. Oh crap! Sorry about the thing. Just give me. All right, sorry about that. Didn't quite catch it in time, but for the cube and the spikes and everything. But you know, I should have left it in there just so I can show off the cubes and the spikes, because that pattern is not used all that often. Okay, so crud. The cube and the laser is not that difficult to dodge. It's when he starts using the weird patterns. You know, that's kind of the same pattern that we've used before with the cube or the diamonds and jumping off of enemies with the cyan laser, which is nothing new, really, to be honest. Now you can see here we gained the cyan and the drill wisp. We freed those wisps, while he still can use the drill wisp. We just freed 2 wisps. Okay, let's see where those... There we go. Now you can kind of slow yourself down a little bit. It's not a full stop. You can kind of speed yourself up a little bit by pushing the stick either forward or down, you know, depending on whichever direction you are aiming. You want to boost a little bit here so you can catch up to him. He may have came in close, but I always find that it's useful to go ahead and jump and, you know, just try to make sure that you get to it anyway. Now, if you notice that he oh, okay, well, this is a difficult... Ah, crap. Oh, dear. When the laser's not that difficult to dodge, it's just that he will speed up, and you want to use the quick hop for these last few if you don't have any rings, and the spikes are not that hard to dodge either. All you have to do is just make sure that you time it just right. The double jump, you use the double jump on the second set. Now, if you do end up missing the homing attack, you can do it again, but you have to go through a couple more attack patterns before you can actually do that. And this should be the final run. I believe I will be able to use a new ability here in a moment. If I can get through this section without taking damage again. Very good. Yeah, you want to use you can use the spin jump for here, but through here you want to use the light hop, and I'm not using the light hop, but it is suggested that you use the light hop while going through there for those last 2 lasers. And you want to be careful if you made it that far to not miss that. So now we can use the laser, the unlimited color ability. And there we go, that's it. That's the color frenzy. That is how we take out the Egg Nega Wisp. That's about as close to a supersonic as we will get. And you can see there, Robotnik disappears like fireworks. It is speculated that the reason why it is purple fireworks is because he is using the frenzy power up, that he uses the frenzy a lot for speed. So you know, and I'll talk more about that in the trivia section, but. It's just a little bit of irony there. The Robotnik being sucked into the black hole that is forming there because of the mind control ray backfiring, and the Robotnik was saying how the park's #1 priority is the safety of the people that go to the park. That's actually pretty funny, I will admit. But the dialogues will get a little bit worse. We're not quite through with the bad dialogues just yet. But anyway, so this is Act 2 for Terminal Velocity. It is a very short, it's not even 35, it's about 35 seconds in length. And all you have to do is just dodge the holes that the floor panels are causing. You can either use the quick step around them, or you can jump over them, whichever you prefer, whichever's easier. I like using the quick step, but sometimes I'll miss the... here you have to use the jump, obviously, but I like to use the quick step while going through here. No matter what you do, you will get sucked into this black hole, so don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do, as I said, to dodge that. And you will not be ranked. That is the only level that you do not get ranked for. Out of all the levels in the entire game. See there all the wisps being freed. The elevator, that's where the elevator is connected to Earth there in the background.
Sonic, are you okay? Man, I can't believe you made it through that.
Like you thought I wouldn't?
The only thing I was thinking about was getting pushed into an elevator.
Well, a hedgehog's gotta do what a hedgehog's gotta do.
Great job, Sonic.
Thanks, but I had a little help during that last part.
You can see all the Nega Wisps are returning to their original forms. And I believe that is Yacker.
Thank you for saving us.
You're welcome. Thank you for saving us.
He says you are welcome.
That thing's translating pretty good.
Yep, I finally got all the kinks out. We can talk to them perfectly now. Great. He says, goodbye, my friends. I have to go. Just when I got this thing working.
Better late than never, buddy. Right on.
You see all the Wisp planets returning back to where their original spots in space were. You can still see the elevator there. The at least the bottom portion of the elevator, which it wasn't the part that wasn't sucked up into the black hole. Should be. Oh, okay. So this is the credits. This is actually the first interactive credits that there has been in the Sonic series. You can destroy most of the letters in things. Not these yet. Let me see. Okay, you can destroy letters like these and collect rings. The reason you'd want to do this is because if you collect 100 rings and you have to collect them, you can't just break them open and collect the rings that are out of there. You have to actually collect them. But if you can do that, you will gain lives at the end of this. It's not based on the wisps that you can collect. You can actually save wisps and use wisp powers. All of them except for, I believe. No, you actually use every single wisp, or you have the ability to use every single wisp. Of course, some wisps are better than others to use, but as I said, you'll gain a life bonus, which is actually pretty useful. You know, especially if you have trouble keeping or collecting lives in this game, you'll definitely want to try and get as many. You know, try to use that to your advantage. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's Sonic. This is Sonic Colors. It's I personally, it's not one of my top 10 favorite Sonic games, but I like it. It's you know, I like that they use the daytime sections from Sonic Unleashed, which is one of my personal top 5 favorite Sonic games. I guess top 10 Sonic games with Sonic Unleashed, and I really like the daytime sections there. I like that they, for some of the abilities that you use, like the quick step, I like that they brought that over to they tightened up the drift. I like that they did that. I personally didn't enjoy the boost, or not the boost, but the using the drift feature in Sonic Unleashed, just because I could never learn it exactly right. I could never make it work like I wanted to. But I did. I'm glad that they tightened it up a little bit more. I don't like that they turned it into a gimmick. You know, there are several areas in Planet Wisp, Tropical Resort, pretty much every single zone where the boost, or where the drift is turned into a gimmick. As well as I don't like that they messed with the boost. You know, made it so slow. You know, and only based on getting wisps rather than rings or score based. It wasn't really score based in Sonic Unleashed, but in Sonic Generations it is score based, and I'll talk about that once I get to the game. But they definitely slowed it down a lot, and I personally believe why they did this is because of the Red Star rings. This is the first time the Red Star rings were added in the Sonic series to rival the collectibles that you could gain in Sonic Unleashed, which rivaled the collectibles that you could gain in Sonic 06, and as with the silver medals and the gold medals. Well, a lot of people complained that the collectibles in Sonic Unleashed was so hard to get because of Sonic's speed. You know, he had a very high acceleration. It was very difficult to actually get going, or it was actually bad to stop, and you had to just lightly tap the button, or you would go going pretty fast in Sonic Unleashed. Well, they definitely slowed it down through here, not only for the Red Star rings, but for the platforming section. There's a lot more platforming in this game than there was in Sonic Unleashed. And while there is nothing wrong with that, that's why they slowed everything down so much for Sonic, and also, you know, because there are so many multiple different paths, the platforming sections, and everything. But I wish they wouldn't have made it just solely based on wisp powers. you know, from a Let's Play standpoint, while it's not good to just speed through every single zone just for like slow sections which don't matter, you could, like in Sonic Unleashed, you could, like on a path that didn't lead to no, it was just like a straight path, uh, that didn't have anything useful and didn't have anything to show off. You could gain a little bit of time by boosting to something like that. Well, like in Starlight Carnival, all those purple sections where you could boost or use the boost efficiently through there. Well, you couldn't because you had to save your boost for different parts of the level. And I hate that they turned the boost. It's not really a gimmick per se. It kind of is with the Motobug races, as well as the quick step. I really enjoy the quick step from Sonic Unleashed. I thought it was a very useful thing. You know, dodging robots trying to go after some rings, and I hate that they turned it into a gimmick for this one as well. You know, it is definitely a gimmick, and it's hard to use in this game. It's not player friendly as much as the boost or the as it was in Sonic Unleashed, because if you're using a GameCube controller, which I am, it's tied to the stick, so you have to turn the stick to the left and right only in certain sections. And that forces you to slow down because you have to push forward with a stick to make Sonic move forward. Well, you cannot efficiently use the quick step like that because it makes you lose so much speed. And if you remember in the Frigate Scullion boss fight, I was telling you, or I was explaining how you could bleed speed by using the quick step to make sure that you didn't take damage. Well, that's, you know, that, and while that is useful, that happens everywhere. So you cannot efficiently use the boost like the quick step like you would in Sonic Unleashed. And you know, thankfully they didn't add sections like in not Soliana, but Spagonia, Rooftop Run, that one section where you have to use the quick step to get through those buildings before you jump out later on, further on into the level. Well, if they added something like that in this game, it would be very slow and very awkward to use. So I'm glad that they didn't add something like that in this game. I don't know why I'm not collecting rings. I guess this is a section where you can't collect rings, or maybe it's because I'm using the blue wisp. I'm disappointed that they did make it a gimmick, but it's not game breaking or anything like that. You know, it's just my own personal opinion. But some positives about this game and what I really love is how beautiful the game is. You know, it's pretty well known that the Wii cannot keep or match the graphics that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 could, but for this being a Wii game, this is a very beautiful and very well detailed game. And, you know, the cutscenes as well as the levels, like with Aquarium Park, the background buildings in the ocean, and the rocks, and well, I guess not the rocks, but you know what I mean. Everything was very beautiful. In Starlight Carnival, the background, the ships, they were very well detailed, and I really thought that was a very nice touch. I'm happy that they were able to use that with the Wii. Is not, you know, as well documented as it is that the Wii cannot match the graphic capabilities of the other next-gen consoles that it was fighting. And you know, I'm still very glad to see that it could match it. Well, you know, the levels, the music, I really enjoy. I'm happy that they added different music. They remixed the music for each individual act, while it's only just by a little bit. You know, it's still just enough so that it keeps people from complaining that the music gets too repetitive. While there's nothing wrong with music being repetitive in games, you know, like a lot of people like that. Especially that's, you know, like old Sonic games, old 2D Sonic games. You know, listening to a song no one cared if it was repetitive or not, but it just it keeps keep people from finding something extra to complain about when there's nothing there to complain about, and I'm glad that they added that. Uh, uh, but control wise, as I said, I'm using a GameCube. This was actually intended for a Wii. Well, it wasn't intended for a Wii. They wouldn't. If it was intended for a Wii remote, they wouldn't have added the controller function. But I do wish the controls were a little bit more GameCube controller friendly. It's definitely not. You have to, as I was talking about the quick step, they could have tied that to the the bumpers, the left trigger and right trigger, like in Sonic Unleashed. Well, they sadly didn't add that feature. You don't actually use the bumpers for anything, and I'm not sure if that was because of the way the Wii remote is set up, and that's just the only way that they could do it. I'm not familiar with. I've never used the Wii remote before. Never intend to. Quite honestly, it seems like it's unnecessarily hard. And I'm not sure if that's why the controller, the button layout is the way it is. Something that I will say that's also something that is bad. They didn't allow you to change the options menu for the sound effects, and they made the sound effects or the music a lot louder than the sound effects, especially the voices. You have a very hard time hearing what Robotnik's saying over the loudspeaker, and a lot of it's actually pretty funny. And I'm happy that it doesn't really matter to me the way that they added it in there, but it's still a nice touch. A lot of games around this time that were adding that not so much around in 2010, but just through 2008, 9. No one game comes out to mind in 2009, but I know in 2008, the last Crash Bandicoot game was Crash Mind Over Mutant, and in every level they had a speaker system like here in Sonic Colors. Well, different characters or different bosses for those different levels would say things over the loudspeakers, and in that game you could change the music and everything so that you could actually hear what they were saying. I do wish they would have added subtitles so that you could have at least heard what Robotnik was saying instead of having to rely on the internet, or somehow being able to drown out the music and sound effects and all that, which is actually pretty difficult for the level. They could have added the subtitles for the actual levels for in the game, and that would have helped. But it's not that important. But if you're gonna go to all that trouble to actually make dialogue for Robotnik to say in the levels and outside of the levels, you at least need to make sure that people can actually hear it. But anyway, that's enough complaining. But yeah, definitely, this game isn't one of my top 10 favorite Sonic games. I'm not too familiar with the game, all the ins and outs of the game like I have been with other previous Sonic titles that I've played before, or that I've done Let's Plays on. I've only actually played through and beat this game 3 times, so...
Faster, you idiot! Faster! Put your backsides into it! We don't have backsides, boss. I don't care. Just push. We have to hurry. I already have my revenge planned out, and next time I will not fail. Of course you won't, boss. Of course you won't. On the bright side, a certain someone got their voice back. I feel like my old self. Although my name is Todd. Hey, remember when we were chasing those little alien guys? What's up with those things anyway? They sure were funny looking.
Remember I was talking about the dialogues being worse? Well, there you go. So, that's it. That's all. That's everything. Now, just for the trivia, what Robotnik says at the beginning is critical systems failure, repeat critical systems failure, all attraction access is temporarily suspended. Please evacuate the park via the emergency exit ahead. This is all your fault, referring to Sonic. Terminal velocity is the final stage of Sonic Colors. It is a large section of the giant structure that bridges the incredible and stellar amusement park to Earth. If you haven't noticed, I was actually using another save file to actually be able to do this game with, and this is what the background looks like once you beat the game. You can see you have all the planets, the satellite, and this thing I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I'll show that off in the next video. But Sonic has to the description of this level. Sonic has to travel down the terminal velocity to reach the space elevator to Earth. Robotnik stops Sonic right at the elevator, realizing what he must do. He pushes Tails into the elevator without him before the battle against the Egg Nega Wisp. After it's over, Robotnik is sucked into a black hole by the energy created from the broken mind control ray as Sonic runs away from it and runs down to meet Tails back at Earth. Act 1 begins with Sonic racing down the huge space pathway as he is being chased by the Arrow Chasers, a bunch of Motobugs, and even the giant crab meat, the Interceptor. The act doesn't officially end the screen, instead just goes to white. The Egg Nega Wisp serves as the final boss of Terminal Velocity. The stage starts as Sonic and Sonic and Robotnik are running down the space elevator. Turning to the left, Robotnik first uses Purple Frenzy to put some distance between himself and Sonic. He then attacks by using the laser spikes or cubes in no particular order there to try to hit Sonic, having to suck up more wisps to use the color power. Sometimes he moves behind you and not only will he use normal attacks, but he might use some combo attacks. Spikes and cubes at the same time is one of the combos, and the other combo is laser and cubes at the same time, which you saw. When he gets close, the player must use a homing attack on one of the arms working up to the cockpit, where the player can use a homing attack twice to damage the Egg Nega Wisp. The player can also boost for a third hit and get some rings. After taking a few blows, the machine will hesitate to attack when the announcer proclaims a new ability where Sonic uses all the Wisp's abilities at once, called the Final Color Blaster. Sonic uses the attack to destroy the machine and send Robotnik flying as he explodes into a purple firework in the shape of a logo. The purple color to the fireworks could possibly be a reference to him using the purple frenzy at the start of the level. Act 2 is only 35 seconds long. It's just a straight shot down the rest of the pathway after Robotnik is defeated. After Sonic beats Robotnik, a black hole appears and engulfs Robotnik while following right behind Sonic. The only threat in the act is the stage crumbling underneath Sonic's feet, having him you have to either use the quick step or jump to avoid falling. Nonetheless, Sonic fails to outrun the black hole and passes out. The wisps help him come back to Earth, as we saw. The trivia for this level is Terminal Velocity is the only stage with a boss comes before the second act, let alone any act. Terminal Velocity has no gold rings or wisp caps beside the white wisps in Act 1. No matter what you do, Sonic will he will be sucked into the black hole. Act 2 is the shortest act in the entire game, only lasting 35 seconds. However, Asteroid Coaster 3 can be completed in about 5 seconds with Supersonic mode on. Act 2 is also the only stage not to contain any rings or enemies. Terminal Velocity is the only stage where all acts, boss included, fade to white. Terminal Velocity, among other things, is the shortest stage, only having 2 acts and a boss fight in the Wii version, and one act in the DS version. The Egg Nega Wisp is differently designed in the Wii and DS versions. On Wii, the Egg Nega Wisp has a head and 2 arms. On the DS, it has a head and a tail. On the Terminal Velocity map, there are white space-themed sword-wielding egg pawns that are supposedly the themed egg pawns for the stage, and I'll take a look at them so that you can see them in the background. You can see they're riding along the elevator on the asteroid in the bottom right corner, and sitting on top of a support structure at the very top of the level near the life count, the S rank count, and the red ring count. Uh, th However, you never fight any of them in the acts, but by using Moon Jump in Act 1 and backtracking, you can use the homing attack on them. Although this level takes place on the space elevator anchoring Tropical Resort to Earth, the design of the elevator is noticeably different in gameplay than that of the cutscenes, most notably Sonic and Tails' flashback in the first cutscene of the game. Terminal velocity bears a resemblance to the final rush stage in Sonic Adventure 2. The term terminal velocity is used to describe the maximum speed gained from falling. While there are no PA announcements here besides the level select PA announcement when the player selects it, in the cutscene after the Egg Nega Wisp fight, a passing loudspeaker being sucked into the black hole says, "At Eggman's incredible and stellar amusement park, you can feel comfortable knowing your safety is our number one priority," to which Robotnik ironically tells it to shut up before being sucked into the black hole. The black hole here doesn't seem to follow the laws of normal black holes, as the wisps carry Sonic out of its event horizon, and large pieces of debris were seen near where Robotnik and his henchbots were in the space. In actual black holes, anything sucked in gets crushed by hypergravity and cannot escape once in the event horizon. Also, he couldn't have been rescued from it since there is no time inside of a black hole. This is the only world of the entire game which doesn't have 2D areas. This is also the only world in which you can use the quick step permanently. Additionally, there are no checkpoints nor red rings in any act. This is also the world with the fewest acts too. We've already learned that. At the end of the boss battle, Robotnik's pod explodes and has Robotnik's emblem as the fireworks display. The player actually earns points for the pod exploding. The theme of Act 1 sounds similar to places to the Egg Dragoon boss theme in Sonic Unleashed. Black hole is the only thing that Sonic has not been able to outrun while being chased by it. There is a nod to Terminal Velocity and Galactic Parade Wisp on the third lap. Galactic Parade being a level, or I guess a track that appears in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, the newest racing game and the newest Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing series to come out just recently. But anyway, so that's all the trivia and everything. So I thank you for watching. I apologize for all of the cuts and everything. I should hopefully get that sorted out soon. But again, thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many times or how many cubes did Robotnik lay down when he used the blue cube power up during the Egg Nega Wisp boss fight. Thank you for watching. Next time I will be doing the Red Star Ring video. So until then, later everyone.